Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast episode from Animal Training Academy. I'm your host, Ryan Cartledge, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to be jumping in the Animal Training Academy trenches and talking to an individual who's become a really good friend of mine. And to be honest, we wouldn't have met if it wasn't for Animal Training Academy. This person has been learning and growing with me over the last 5 months and engaging in an Animal Training Academy VIP mentor program. For those that have gone through the program, we've had so much fun. I'm really excited to be talking to today's guest about it and sharing his personal experiences. The basic VIP mentor package includes a 1 to 2 hour video call, WhatsApp mobile phone support, forum support, and a video edit where you send me a video of your training and I slow it down, add text, arrows, and instructions straight into the video and send it back to you. It's a proven way to get results, and I'll put an example of it in the write-up for this podcast because we did it with Julian Rasta, our guest today, and we got some amazing results. I get a lot of people email me or send me a message on Facebook asking for assistance with their individual training projects. And I want to be able to help each and every single one of you achieve your training goals. I also realize that there's a way to go about doing this that gets results and involves us utilizing more improved tools than simply sending a couple of messages back and forth. So I'm going to be trialing adding a new option to the website where you can send me a message telling me about your individual training challenges and request a free 20-minute video call consultation with myself. In this call, we will discuss your training challenges, what behaviors you would like your animal to learn, what you think is involved in getting you from where you currently are to where you want to be, how long you envision it will take, and what you need to do to get there. And once I've heard your answers, I'll give you my input on what I think you need to do based on the information you provide. And this will allow us to formulate a personalized plan for you moving forward. On that note, without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce our guest today, Julian Rasta, the human of Rasta, the Alexandrian parrot. Hello, Julian. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ryan. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Julian. Thank you for asking. And it's really exciting to be doing a podcast with you today because we've been working together so closely for the last 5 months. So to get us started today, Julian, can you maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself and how your Alexandrian parrot Rasta came into your life?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been a bit of a bird man, always fascinated by birds, watching them fly, watching them do their thing. I always wanted a parrot, but never really took the leap into getting one. After a trip to South America, I went to a big bird park there in Brazil, and it sort of re-sparked all that passion that I had for birds. Couldn't really get one when I got back, but started doing all the research. Then I went to Singapore, and they've got a really big bird park there, and watched all the birds that they had there, the free fly shows, all the training things that they did. And I realised the massive commitment that owning a parrot would be. They lived for 25, 30 years. And I said, no, I think I'm ready. I'm at a stage in my life where I think I'm ready to have a companion parrot, and did my research, found a breeder in Pakenham, not far from where we are here, and got in contact with him, and he took me through the process of getting a parrot and ended up with little Rasta, little Alexandrian parrot.
Yeah, and nice to hear that, you went through the process of thinking about what was involved in getting a parrot. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit more, just in relation to someone who might want a parrot and listening to this? There's a lot involved, isn't there, in owning a pet parrot and having a companion animal. It's not as simple as just buying it and kind of not really thinking about it. It's a pretty full-on commitment.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they say a puppy's not just for Christmas. Birds, not just for a couple of years. They end up living for, like I said, 25, 30, 40 years. There's some that are up to 60 years, depending on the species. So I thought buying a parrot is definitely something that I shouldn't take lightly, because not only the lifespan, there's a lot involved in keeping one at home. You think naturally they're out foraging all day, and there's a lot of interaction. They live in flocks. So having one at home while I'm at work was something that I really had to think about, and whether I could give the commitment to spend enough time and give that parrot a fulfilling life, really. So when I thought that, I was ready and I could give that chunk of my life to owning a parrot, because at the end of the day, it's almost like having kids. I think you end up with a parrot for a bit longer than 18 years. Normally a kid, once they're 18, you kick them out and they're gone. So yeah, but look, it's been 4 years now with Rasta, and I haven't looked back. Yeah,
definitely, and lots to consider there. And me and you have worked quite thoroughly through enrichment programs for Rasta and making sure that we're providing a whole bunch of stuff to keep him entertained, which is really important. And for those listening, we're going to be doing a dual podcast series on enrichment coming up. So lots to learn there. And Julian, you're doing a wonderful job with Rasta. We've had a lot of fun. If you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking about getting a companion parrot, please ensure that you go through the same process Julian did and you spend considerable time thinking through it as to if it's the correct decision for you. As Julian mentioned, parrots can live up to 60 years, even longer than that in fact. Some species can live to the ripe old age of 100. So with these species, they're actually going to likely outlive you. As Julian mentioned, it's kind of like having a child. They require a lot of your time and attention. Parrots are highly sociable animals, and you'll have to be prepared to put in daily interaction time with them. Additionally, a lot of parrot species can be very vocal and make extremely loud sounds. So this has to be taken into consideration with regards to your family and neighbours, etc. Parrots also possess really strong beaks, good for chewing and destroying things. So be prepared for potential damage to property and various items if your parrot manages to get a hold of them. To conclude all of this, you need to really think hard if considering getting a companion parrot. You need to think about the longevity of the animal, likely between 20 to 100 years, the daily requirement of giving that animal attention, the loud vocalization that a lot of parrots can make, the potential destructive nature that comes with being endowed with the fantastic beaks that parrots have, and the endless supply of enrichment and entertainment you have to provide for these animals. As mentioned, very shortly, we're going to have a fantastic 2-part series on enrichment, so make sure you watch out for this, as this information is vitally important for all animals, not just parrots. Anyways, back to the podcast. Hey Julian, moving on though, when you first engaged with Animal Training Academy, you sent me some really neat videos of Rasta doing various behaviours, which I love to watch. So you were getting some good success, whilst at the same time, there were still a few things you were unsure of and challenges you were facing. Can you share how you first heard about Animal Training Academy and what some of the challenges you were facing at the time? And what solutions you had found up until that point? What solutions had presented themselves to you?
Yeah, definitely. Look, when I first got Rasta, along with all the research about owning a parrot and things that need to be done, I also looked at different training techniques and things that I could do to make our interactions a lot better than just watching Rasta in a cage and then letting him run amok around the house. And I'd sort of, through a series of YouTube videos, I got a rough idea of how to train a parrot. I'd watched a few clicker videos and watched a few online tutorials, read a couple of books, but really only had the basics. It was a real one-way street with all that information. But Rasta and I were moving along. I taught him how to wave. I think he was saying a couple of words on cue. He was saying, "Hi, Rasta," on cue. Bit of recall, but nothing out of this world. It was mainly just Rasta hanging around, doing what he wanted, and every now and then he'd do something that I wanted him to do, and we'd try and work on that, but there was no real goal or direction. Then I saw I think it might have been on Facebook. It was an ad somewhere for Animal Training Academy, a free webinar. And I thought, well, look, that's something that sounds pretty cool. And it sounds like something that I could definitely use with Rasta and taking our relationship to the next level. So I booked in to do this free webinar, set it up, got all the details, and then realised that I double booked. I was meant to be going to a concert on the night of the webinar. And I thought, no, look, I'm going to go to the concert, but I'm still going to at least listen to this webinar if I can't watch it. So we're driving to the concert with myself and my fiance, and I've pulled over and I said, look, this webinar's about to start. I'm going to set it up so I can listen to it while I'm driving. So I've put it on and we're driving to the concert, and everything, Ryan, you were saying was just sort of drawing me deeper and deeper into thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. It's almost as if you were talking directly to me. You got to the end of it and you said, you've got a training program available and you had all these things, and I thought, this is amazing. I want to get on board and I want to take this to the next level. So we pulled up outside the concert. The concert had already started and the fiance was getting a little bit antsy with me, but I ended up signing up for a mentor program then and there. That was in April, and it's well worth it. Well worth it now.
That's hilarious. That's such a great story, Julian. and I can just imagine Sharon sitting there shaking her head going, what are you doing? We're trying to get to a concert.
Yeah, she wasn't happy about it, but I think she's seen the progress that we've made and she realises now it was well worth missing that first part of the concert.
Oh, I'm very, very grateful to her and say thank you from me. And very grateful that you signed up as well. So we started, I think, in April, Julian, and you started absorbing this new information about applied behaviour analysis and positive reinforcement. What have been some of the most eye-opening experience for you so far, would you say?
The major thing that's really changed me in the way that I view not only my relationship with Rasta, but almost with everything, is the choices, is the empowerment that you can give, that I can give Rasta. Instead of telling Rasta to do something, I can ask you, I say, hey, Rasta, can I give you a head scratch, or or do you want to come over here? And Rasta will either tell me, yeah, sure thing, or no, not right now, maybe later. And being able to read his body language and find out what Rasta's telling me, it's really changed everything that I do with Rasta, and it's made our relationship all the better for it. You talk a lot about the trust bank. Since jumping on board with you, that I think that trust bank's just gone through the roof with Rasta. It's incredible. Before I started up with the Animal Training Academy, Rasta wasn't tactile at all. Be lucky to be able to touch his wing to see if he was okay, or even touch his beak. And after working with you, Ryan, really improved that to the point where I'd put my hand up and Rasta would walk across his perch and put his head in my hand and say, yeah, it's all right, you can have a bit of a scratch. And one day I was doing this and Dad was sitting in the kitchen and he saw this and he knew that Rasta was almost impossible to touch. And he saw Rasta walk across the perch, put his head in my hand and me give him a scratch, and he was blown away by it. And I think that's one of the major things that I've taken from this, is that people don't really understand that you can give animals choices. And when you give them the choice to do what they want to do, chances are they'll make the one that you want them to do, because you've got that trust with the animal. And before joining Animal Training Academy, I had no idea that was possible. And to see other people's reactions when I do things like that, it's mind-boggling.
It's a beautiful thing, Julian, and thank you so much for sharing that. I always say one of the benefits of this stuff is to show other people what's possible with positive reinforcement animal training. And I remember when you told me that story about your dad, I was just over the moon just to know that we were expanding other people's minds. Moving forward, I want you to continue on with what you're saying and speak to the hearts of those people that are listening to this podcast and might be in a similar position to you when you first started going through the course material and being involved in the mentor program and learning about this new way of interacting with your animals. Do you have anything that you want to say to those people that might be saying, well, yeah, this works for Ryan and it works for Julian, but it won't work for me?
Yeah, look, I was sort of at the same mindset. It's amazing what you can see on YouTube and Facebook. You see all these animals doing incredible things and you think, oh, you've got to be an animal trainer and you've got to have years of practice. You've got to work in zoos and have all this experience under your belt. After delving into this world, and that's what it is, it's a whole new world, and you start to see things totally differently. You start to see things through a behavioral point of view. And it's amazing how going through the course and the way everything is broken down is that everything is just a small step away. So everything can be broken down. It's not a matter of saying, oh no, that's not something that I can do. It's just a matter of saying, how can I do that? And that's what it's opened my mind up to, because every animal has the ability to do it. I've sort of seen it as much as I'm training Rasta, I'm the one being trained through all of this. It's incredible. And once you start to see those things, you don't see things any other way. It's a matter of being able to see the world through this positive reinforcement. It's not out of anyone's reach, which is incredible.
Julian, another thing I want to talk about quickly with you is you're fortunate enough to have your own really good quality camera equipment. You've got a GoPro, which is fantastic, and other people might not, but everyone's got a smartphone these days, or you got your shooting points. Everyone's got the ability to shoot their training, video their training, and you've done a lot of this over time. Can you discuss the value that filming your training has provided for you throughout this process?
Yeah, sure. When you first said to me, hey, look, what you need to do is just film everything that you do, I sort of scratched my head and thought, why am I going to do that for? I'm there, I can see what's happening. But then I thought, no, look, I'll do it. And like you said, I'm lucky enough to have all that stuff. I've got a GoPro and a few other cameras lying around. And I started recording everything. And then when I started looking back at the things I was recording, I realized that I was seeing a totally different side to the training. And as you started pointing out, Rasta's slight and subtle movements that while I'm there training him, trying to figure out when I'm going to click, when I'm going to feed him, what I want him to do, how he's doing it, whether he's doing what I want. They're things that I hadn't really noticed. The slight shift in body weight, his eyes moving, his head flicks over when he hears the click, all that type of stuff were things that I hadn't picked up on. I sort of knew that I click, I feed him, Rasta takes a seat, and that's as far as it went. Or if I tell Rasta to move over to this side or target to this stick, he does that. But apart from that, I wasn't really looking at any of the other of that, those subtle body language that Rasta was throwing out there. And once I started to see it in those videos, you can pick it up in real time a lot easier because you know what to look for. But before that, I had no idea. I had no idea what to look for or what Rasta was doing. I knew Rasta's eyes would pin, but that's it. I'd read that somewhere, but I've never realised that Rasta can shift over his body weight from one leg to the other. He can lean backwards or lean forwards. And they're all ways of Rasta saying, hey, this is what I want to do, or this is what I don't want to do. So, yeah, it's been invaluable having all that footage to look back on.
Beautiful. So it kind of helped open the communication channels a little bit more by making us more conscious of what Rasta was, air quotes here, what Rasta was saying to us. And it's really beautifully demonstrated in the video I'll share on the podcast right up. Hey, we're nearly at the end there. Any final words, Julian, or is that pretty much kind of your sum up of your experience of the mentor program?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But like I said, it's incredible having that option or giving Rasta that option to say yes or no. That empowerment has changed my life, and it's something that's, it's priceless to me and the whole family here, Rasta included.
Hey, it's been so good talking to you. It's been a lot of fun, Julian. Thank you very much for engaging in this podcast episode today. It's been really cool to hear about your experiences in the program, and really reinforcing for me to watch you and Rasta developing and growing over the last couple of months. It's just been great. So from me and on behalf of everyone listening here today, a massive thank you to Julian. It's just been super. Cheers, Julian.
Thanks, Ryan.
My pleasure. Hey, I hope all you guys out there enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed making it. As mentioned at the start of this podcast episode, I'm going to be trialing this brand new addition to the website where you can book a free 20-minute video call consultation with me, and we'll go over your individual training challenges and come up with a personalized plan for you to help lead you towards success. Hopefully similar to the amazing results Julian is achieving himself. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please leave a comment and let me know on animaltrainingacademy.com or on iTunes, wherever you're listening to it. Tell us if you didn't like the podcast. Tell us what you want to learn about or who you want to hear on a future episode. Tell us what your training challenges are. Absolutely anything at all. We'll just love to hear from you. Until next time, good luck with all your training endeavors, and you'll hear from me again soon. Ciao.